see the defensive intensity ratcheting up a little bit now. Mason for three after he shook a dude. Ingram in no man's land. Petty inside, the dish to Galin, and Galin Smith will go to the free throw line for two.
Well, nothing is better than when you're in New York City and you're able to shake somebody. Watch Nate Mason here, and then he looks at him.
Oh, yeah. That was Sexton.
Oh, boy. Oh, baby. That's somewhere when you go up to Harlem, you go up to New York City, you get on the floor. Nate Mason says, hey, I could be exciting too.
Oh, Mason is shimmying and shaking and everything in between, and a little bit too much of it.
Watch Sexton, his feet get tied up right there, and then Mason, watch.
Oh, we got a technical foul, I believe, a double technical going on Mason and Sexton. Uh-oh. A lot of talking, and Mason better be careful or else he's going to get another one. Richard Pitino wants a timeout. Mason is real juiced up by this crowd over here, and I believe as well someone just got tossed.
And Nate Mason just got tossed here. And Richard Pitino's irate. The referees are trying to get control of this game. Nate Mason started talking to the Alabama bench. And Richard Pitino's
another one. This game is getting real interesting. Two technicals on Nate Mason, he's gone, and Richard Pitino picks up a technical foul of his own.
I was blocked from the first technical. Nate Mason, we just showed him eyeing down Sexton. This is the first one. Now, Collin Sexton's supposed to be a lottery pick. Nate Mason is a guy, and you said this before, Chris, maybe doesn't get the respect on a national level. Even on this team, you talk about Murphy and you talk about Lynch, and then finally you get to Nate Mason. He's having a big half. He starts talking to Collin Sexton. There's the original tee, and then I watched kind of him go back to the bench a little bit before this, and he was jawing at Alabama, jawing at their coaches. He gets the second tee, and then you see Richard Pitino just fly off the handle. Oh boy, you got a double-digit lead, you're cruising, you're playing outstanding basketball. As a senior, Nate Mason, he's got to be smarter than that.
And there's Rick Pitino, not liking what he's seeing right now from Minnesota. 57-44, buddy boy.
Let's see how this changes the complexion of the game.
What happened? We had the shimmy from Nate Mason. Sexton hit the deck. Mason hit the shot. Next time down, better defense from Alabama. Mason was trying to do something. He turned it over, so Sexton probably said, hey, I got you that time.
And there people are saying, Mason is a senior. He should know better than that. You got to keep your cool, is what a lot of people are saying on Facebook right now. 3
out of 4 from Collin Sexton. Remember, had everything. Still a lot of time left in this game. Ingram gets cut off, loses his dribble. Sexton's got it. You know he's going to want to make something happen. One of the best freshmen in the country. Double team, finds the senior, Riley Norris. It's a 7-point game. And we've got fisticuffs. A scuffle underneath, and players ready to throw. We have madness at the Barclays Center Classic between Alabama and Minnesota. Amir Coffey is being ushered off the court. I think what we have here, Tim Doyle, is these young players getting a little too caught up in the fans courtside watching this game and wanting a little too much playground action. That's my take. You could feel the hostility in the building right now, and
You're going to see Norris bury the three here, and watch underneath.
That's Dazon Ingram tangled up with, looks like Dupree McBrayer. Hard to catch the numbers from that wide shot.
We saw some Alabama players step on the floor. That's an immediate technical.
Well, the entire team is out there on the court. Every single player without warm-ups on is on the court for Alabama.
That's going to be a messy situation for officials. You know, we've seen this at the NBA level. You step on the floor, you're gone. Let's watch that bench reaction. I mean, there's Hall.
Dante Hall's out there. Avery Johnson Jr.'s out there, but he's trying to hold players back.
Your point before about getting caught up. You know, I grew up in New York City, and this may be hard for you to understand if you're in Minnesota or in Alabama. You go out to the playgrounds, you get that crowd in there. It's so hard to explain. And a guy like Nate Mason, he got caught up in it.
Led by as many as 18 points in this game. The referees are now looking for this shot, which we're showing you, of the Alabama bench. And we have several players starting to run out. Dante Hall is one of them. Avery Johnson is out on the floor, but he's holding everybody back, Avery Johnson Jr. After that, though, when things started to escalate a little bit more, then more players come off the bench. They all came off the bench at one point, like right here. And so there's going to be what has been decided, what has been sorted out. Avery Johnson, Richard Pitino with the three officials near midcourt meeting right now. If you're just joining us, Minnesota's got a 7-point lead. The lead was 13 moments ago when Nate Mason got teed up twice, ejected. Richard Pitino got teed up. Collin Sexton hit 3 of 4 free throws, and then Riley Norris hit a 3. 7-point game, and now the explanation from one of the officials as several players have been ejected from this game for Alabama. The entire bench from Alabama has been ejected from this game for entering the playing court. The bench is empty. Just assistants. And now the 5 on the court for Alabama are the 5 who have to go the rest of the way. Minnesota's entire bench is intact. Washington lays it in, and Minnesota's up 9. Tim, I have never seen anything like this in all my years of watching basketball at any level.
I'm surprised there was no free throws.
Sexton to the hoop. Too strong. Minnesota trying to seize control. Amir Coffey's got it.
Avery Johnson's got to call a timeout here and settle down his team.
Ingram bumped. So Dante Hall, a starter, is gone.
They may have to play this game with 4 players.
Coffey. No good. Rebound to Smith. Still a lot of time left as Sexton scores. It's still a 9-point game. How are you playing this game if you're Avery Johnson? How are you approaching the rest of this game with 5 players? McBrayer short. Sexton runs it down. And there's a foul. 5 that are going to get to play the rest of the way. Washington trying to put the moves on Sexton. Washington, no. And a foul on the floor. And that's it. That is number 5. Number 5 on Ingram, and Alabama only has 4 players left.
I've never seen this before in the history of college basketball.
Was called on the right player, and it was. They have decided the foul goes on Galin Ingram. So he's disqualified with his 5th personal foul.
Reggie Lynch, 1-1 for the Golden Gophers.
1-1 coming for Reggie Lynch.
The remaining 11:30 of this game. Just craziness.
So everyone on the bench was kicked off, was sent into the locker room, because if you leave the bench, it's an automatic ejection. That's why there's no free throws. It's not a technical, it's an automatic ejection. Then Alabama loses another player on Galin Ingram's foul out. So he's the only one sitting on the bench, and that's why they have 4 players on the court. Still a 9-point game here, but I can't imagine any way Alabama with 4 players is going to be able to make a comeback in this game. But they still have Collin Sexton. Amir Coffey is coming. He throws it down. Might see a lot of that the rest of the way with an odd man rush for Minnesota. Petty, no good on the 3, and he's hurt. Petty is grabbing the foot. Alabama's playing with 4 players and now down to 3 as Fitzgerald lays it in, and Petty is in agony.
I am at a loss of words.
Grabbing the right foot. And he can't put any pressure on that right foot. Alabama is going to be down to 3 players, folks. And now the question is, if you're Avery Johnson, do you keep going with 3?
I wish I had an answer for you. I really don't know what to say.
Looks like they will. Of all the things, Alabama is playing 3-on-5 against Minnesota. And they're just going to double everything. Galin Smith.
They're going to get Washington here on a hold of Sexton. You know, in practice, I've seen 7-on-5 to maybe simulate a press. I've seen 6-on-5 and different things to kind of show you how athletic teams could be. But I've never been on the offensive end or the defensive end with 3 players. And I'm sure Avery Johnson, who has 40+ years basketball experience, has never been in a situation like this. And I've never seen anything like it.
It's 3-on-5, a 2-man advantage for Minnesota. There is a hockey rink underneath this arena. This is where the Islanders play. You see it in hockey. You've never seen it in basketball. Amir Harris for 3. And this game's all but decided now. 3-on-5. They'll double team Sexton as he comes across the timeline. I mean, you might see this in someone's front yard when you have 3 high school guys playing against maybe 4 or 5 younger children. Sexton a 3. No. Another 3. Too strong. Norris tips the rebound to himself.
Sexton looks gassed right now. He's going to be facing the double team for the next 9+ minutes of this game.
Realize there's a lot of people tuning in, not even fans of Alabama and Minnesota, that may have heard about what's transpired here at the Barclays Center. Alabama is playing
with 3 players because their entire bench was ejected for coming onto the court during an altercation. Alabama had another player, Dazon Ingram, foul out. That cut him down to 4, and John Petty just rolled his ankle and can no longer go. That is why Alabama is down to 3 players, Riley Norris, Collin Sexton, and Galin Smith. As many players as our broadcast crew, 3, Kristen Balboni.
It's just unlike anything we've ever seen before. I'm monitoring the comments. Vicky says, been watching basketball a long time, and I have never seen anything like this. Jerry says, nobody looks good at this point. Minnesota isn't going to get credit for beating up a team 5-on-3. A lot of people are saying, you know, they've never seen anything like this.
In Minnesota, all they're doing is taking 3s. Take a snapshot of this, folks. You may never see it again. A 3-on-5 major college basketball game between 2 ranked teams. 2 teams that were undefeated entering the game. Sexton able to get it to go. It's a 10-point game. See what Richard Pitino decides to do. He has been okay with them shooting 3s. Washington takes a deuce. Appreciate you joining us here on Facebook Live for the craziness with Tim Doyle. I'm Chris Hassel. Barclays Center Classic presented by Continental Tire. 4th and final game of this Barclays Center Classic. Coffey scores.
I think Avery's going to call this game. I think they may wave the white flag here.
No, he's asking his 3 players to take a seat.
I mean, look at Collin Sexton. Look at him. He is gassed.
He says, basically, his body language says, I can't go anymore, coach.
I mean, it's only been about 4 minutes since they went to 4 players, and now at 3 players, it feels like an eternity. I think that there's 7:44 left in this game.
When all this went down, and you see a smile from Sexton, he knows it's never happened before, and it's probably not going to ever happen again. It was just a 7-point, and Alabama forced to play the rest of the game with 3 players. Now Minnesota's just turning up the defense. They can take every chance they want. Sexton to the hoop. That wasn't 3-on-5. That was 1-on-5. 12-point game. Minnesota's been content to toss it around and just take jump shots as Alabama packs it in. Another 3 from Jameer Harris. I asked you, what do you do on defense when it's 5-on-4? You said all you can do is a 2-2 zone. So when it's 5-on-3, I guess it's a 1-2.
Yeah, you just go out there and you play a triangle and just hope they miss. Alabama's shown a lot of grit, a lot of toughness. I'm surprised Avery Johnson hasn't thrown the towel, but I've never seen anything like this.
Somebody's going to write a book about this someday, and Avery Johnson's going to tell us exactly why he decided to keep going, and maybe he's going to point to this and say, hey, you guys that got ejected, you put these guys in this situation, they finished it off, they carried you, so you carry them the rest of the season. Maybe they can use this as a positive, but certainly this is going to be tough to talk about as Sexton hits the 3.
Collin Sexton, one of the best players in all college basketball. People saying a lock lottery pick. I agree with them. He's out there trying to carry his 2 teammates.
Look at the hustle from Collin Sexton. 3-on-5, and he comes up with the steal. He has nothing left. Completely gassed, hands on hips. Can't even run.
You got to go double the ball.
Norris scores again. It's still just a 10-point game with 5.5 to play.
This is wild. This is just target practice for the Gophers. Harris is just taking advantage of it. He's just going to step into another three.
The 3 players left on the court for Alabama, the 3 players that are still eligible to play: Collin Sexton, Riley Norris, and Galin Smith. 2 freshmen and a senior. Sexton still hustling.
Overshadowed in this game is Jordan Murphy, the forward for the Gophers, had 19 points and 12 rebounds at the half. He hasn't done anything in the second half.
There's the Harlem kid, Isaiah Washington, who's had a big game himself, had a big stretch there in the first half to help Minnesota lead by as many as 19. Sexton's got it back. Triple team. Norris picks up the dribble. 8 on the shot clock. Sexton's going to try to make something happen. Shoots it and hits! It's a 3! This is amazing. The fact that when Alabama was only down 7 when this happened, and now they're only down 9, is incredible. It's 5 on 3, and Minnesota can't escape. The 3 is no good. The tip is loose, and Riley Norris has it. Norris gets it poked, tries to save it, and a foul. It's double bonus, and it's an under 4 timeout. This game impossibly isn't over yet. And for those of you who didn't catch it, and those of you who want to see it all again, this is how we got to this point of a 5 on 3.
And Nate Mason, the senior guard from Minnesota, you see the shake and bake and then the stare at Collin Sexton, and then they started jawing. But the officials right there, you see the technical, that was the first one. And then as Mason was going back to the bench, he started jawing with players, coaches. Richard Pitino gets a technical, and this is where chaos erupts. All the players on Alabama's bench, they leave, they come on the floor. No punches are thrown, but the referees are left with no other choice. But everybody from the bench, they get the heave-ho. So Alabama, they're left with only 5 players. Ingram then picks up his 5th foul. Right there, he's gone. So now you're down to 4 players, and then it seemed like a possession later, John Petty, their sensational freshman, he turns his ankle. So Avery Johnson, who's played at the highest level, who's coached at the highest level, and is now coaching a top 25 team in Alabama. They're looking for a resume win, and they're playing with 3 players on the basketball floor, something I've never seen before in the history of basketball.
7 players ejected. Now, each team can continue to play if you can't court a team of 5, if you will. Other team members not eligible or able to play. That's the Article 2 from Rule 3 of the NCAA rulebook. Each team may continue to play with fewer than 5 players. That's the bullet point. When there's only 1 player for a participating team, that team shall forfeit unless the referee believes that both teams have an opportunity to win. Never thought we'd have to go to that rule. And never thought this game would still be in the balance with 3:48 to play. 8-point lead. And now the Gophers going to work the clock down a little bit. Let's see. Richard Pitino's been okay with his players just pulling up, taking 3s, taking long 2s because they're all open. Alabama just has to pack it in with that triangle. Washington hits the jumper. Collin Sexton totally gassed. He has 33 points in this game on 10 of 18 shooting. Sexton for 3. Got it! freshman Collin Sexton out of Mableton, Georgia. Since Alabama went to 3 players, they've outscored Minnesota. Washington misses, and a foul going on Minnesota. 2:43 to play, and it's a 7-point game, and this entire crowd now outside of Minnesota fans are cheering on Alabama.
Galin Smith.
I don't even know what to tell Richard Pitino to do. You never practice 5-on-3.
First free throw is good from Galin Smith, who didn't even play in the game yesterday. Riley Norris, who's one of the other 3 players still left, he didn't play in any of the first 3 games for Alabama this season. It is a 5-point game with Minnesota playing 5-on-3 against Alabama. For a while, we thought Alabama would just forfeit. They are right there. And he stepped out of bounds. Alabama has it, down 5. Sexton gets a screen. He's got trying to get Norris and Smith out of there. Too strong on the 3. If that would have went down, this whole place would have come down. 36 points for Collin Sexton. 2 minutes to play in this game. Alabama's outscoring Minnesota 24-16 with 3 players. Sexton the rebound, here he comes. Sexton himself, got it! It's a 1-possession game! This place is up for grabs. Sexton the rebound! Missed the shot with 1:15 to play. That would have cut it to 1. Coffey and the foul. Minnesota back up 5 with 1:12 to play.
This is one of the more courageous performances I have seen in the history of sports. 3 players.
And not even the 3 players that you would choose to be on the court if you're Avery Johnson. He calls a timeout, down 6, 1:05 to play. Win or lose, and it probably will be lose. This is going to go down as one of the all-time gut checks in college basketball history.
You know, I said around the 7-minute mark, I thought he'd wave the white flag. I thought he'd throw the towel.
Hey, let's attack number 42. He can't move his feet at all.
Let's listen to Avery Johnson talking to his 3 players.
That's what I'm saying. I let Galin at the tree. Yeah. It's over with. Yes. Listen, this is the possession right here. Come on. If you're really good, if you're really hard, and aggressive. Right? If you can't get this man, I'll go back up. So we got 1 possession right here. We got at least 2 possessions left.
Yeah. So when you get this deep, get it on the middle, coach, and now we set it over here. And that's where we go. All right? Where am I at? Right here.
1:05 to play. Minnesota with an 86-80 lead on Alabama. A matchup of two unbeaten teams here at the Barclays Center Classic, presented by Progressive Tire. Continental Tire. Wow. It's been that kind of night. Sexton down 6, 3 on 5, dishes off, it's a dunk.
He should be fouling here.
12-second difference shot clock to game clock. If you don't foul, there's not going to be enough time left down 4.
I'm surprised they're not going to extend the game, but the more possessions, obviously, the better the situation is for the Gophers. What an outstanding, unbelievable effort from Alabama in this game.
Avery Johnson wanted his players to avoid fouling, and that was too late. With 5 seconds on the shot clock, Dupree McBrayer will go to the free throw line, up 4 with 17.8 to play. Those of you watching us, this is Stadium's coverage of college basketball exclusively on Facebook. We'll have 40+ games this season in college basketball. None will be as unique, bizarre, and circus-like as this one. Minnesota is going to survive, but what a performance by Alabama as the entire bench gets ejected. They actually outscore the Golden Gophers 3 on 5. Collin Sexton going to the line with a chance to reach 40 points. Sitting on 38. 10 seconds left. Going to be interesting to see what kind of ovation these fans are going to give these 3 players for Alabama. A foul. Michael Hurt will go to the line. Avery Johnson giving his 3 players a hand. The entire bench was ejected for entering the court during a scuffle. And I realize I keep repeating myself, but it's because we have so many people who are just tuning in because they've heard about what's going on. The whole bench came onto the court, so the whole bench was ejected. Alabama was left with 5 players on the court. The problem is, one of them already had 4 fouls. That was Dazon Ingram. He fouled out, and then John Petty injured himself, rolled his ankle. That's why they finished the game with 3. 0.8 left. And free throws coming.
Collin Sexton's going to be remembered for his heart of a lion in this game. He single-handedly kept Alabama in this ball game. He was getting oxygen on the bench. He was huffing and puffing.
Stadium is your new national news and sports network. We focus on the sports at Stadium, folks. The only 24/7 network available on both television and digital services without a cable subscription. 40 points for Collin Sexton, and he has his hands raised. The 3 players for Alabama are coming together at midcourt. Minnesota gets the 89-84 win. But in the end, everyone's going to be talking about what these 3 Alabama players did in the closing moments of this game to keep it a game. Down by double digits, playing 3 on 5. They came back, and Collin Sexton actually had a shot to cut it to 1. They had the ball down 3 in the final minute.
Yeah, he shot a pull-up jump shot there. I'm sure in hindsight, down 3, he would have liked to jacked up a 3-pointer just to see if he could tie this game. What a wild set of events. Emotions were high. The crowd was into the game. And this really started with Nate Mason and Collin Sexton going head-to-head. Mason are reigning all Big Ten players.